What's that thing in the bathroom doing?
Mic check. Can you guys hear me? I don't think you can hear me. 1 minute.
I didn't know.
I'm live, Katie, so
Sorry.
I have no audio. Why do I have no audio? Default. There we go. There we go. I got it. Okay. I think I'm live. You guys let me know if I'm live. I can't tell other than the mic is bouncing. And it takes a second. And the Rokfin didn't go, or the Rumble didn't go, of course. Good morning, everybody. I'm just kind of hanging out, waiting to see if you can hear Catalytic Centaur. We can hear you. Yay. This is my Monday morning. Tuesday mornings are my Monday morning. So welcome to Gamer and Catalytic Centaur and Kate, who are hanging out. And Dingo just got here. Dingo ate me, baby. Of course, Fred's over on the Rokfin. Oh, I didn't launch the Rokfin. Tell you, this is my Monday. Go live. Here we go. Okay. Now the Rokfin should see me in a minute or so. Am I good? Yeah, everybody just woke up, right? That's why we're like hurrying, I noticed my sound wasn't bouncing right as we went live. So hopefully my audio, my media sound will be okay. How is everybody this morning? A lot of crazy shit to talk about. Of course, we're just going to kind of go over the headlines and a few odd stories that I found that nobody else is talking about. And it's a Tuesday. Yes, it is a Tuesday. It's 19:05 here. Yeah, military time breaks my brain. I mean, I can figure it out, obviously, but I can only listen on one stream today. Oh, okay. That's so sweet of you to let Michael use your computer, though. I get it. I always let my partner use my computer if he needs to. I'm anti-woke enough. Yeah, I've been asking people lately, when was your anti-woke date? Like, people are like, what? Like, for me, it wasn't until like 2017, right, that I started to see that the whole woke messaging was breaking people's brains and was intentional, right? Good evening from Germany. I got a lot of German in me, if you can't tell. Last name was Denhauer and Blame. So yeah, I was raised around a lot of Germans. My uncle came straight from Germany, so that's all they spoke in their house. I took German for 3 years as a kid, and really all I can say is good morning and order a beer. Those are the easiest things to do in German. But you know what? I think it was the teacher. The German teacher was just an asshole, and he was the same guy that did in-school suspension, or when you got in trouble, detention, whatever you want to call it, homeroom. And he was just mean to me. And I think that really turned me off. So I transferred into Spanish the next year. But, I didn't learn much Spanish after 4 years either. Actually, I am better with Spanish than I am with German, for sure. Yeah, I can't even remember how to count in German. I think people are piling in now. I think we're getting catched up. I'm sorry, Oz, the Rumble didn't go. It won't let me edit the stream key once the broadcast is scheduled. So I have to get that stream key in before we're scheduled. So maybe later today I can get logged into the Rumble and get it figured out for myself. Woke RIP. I agree, Jeffrey. I agree. This shit, it just broke the whole world, didn't it? On top of COVID and of course the Great Reset. But yeah, wokeism's kind of dying a hard death right now. Let's get to my fair use. There we go. Anything I say is just my opinion only, my assumptions. Please, like I always tell you guys, go out there, do your own research. We have so many amazing journalists, reporters, podcasters within our little network that we all hang out with that are just bringing amazing truths. AM Wake Up, which was just on, Pasta and Steve, they had Ryan Christian, they had great conversation, great questions being asked. I mean, the information's out there. It's not hard to find if you're looking for it. So always do your own research and don't give hate to anybody, anywhere, at any time. All right. Isn't that the saying? It's a waste of fucking time. I had somebody come in and say something totally pro-Israel the other day on my Facebook. And I just thought, what's the point? I could tear this guy to the ground, but nothing I say to him is going to change his mind because he's been programmed, right? So don't waste your time tearing people down with hate. I think it's a waste of damn time. Oh, I got the fam cup going on this morning. I see it everywhere. I see it on Twitter. God, I just and our own fams tearing each other down. Knock that shit off, you guys. We got to stay the community that we are. I mean, I look at where we started in 2016 with the birdie movement and how massive it was. And I traveled from coast to coast driving and encountering people, and the love and the camaraderie that was there because we all had a common goal, and that was get Bernie elected. It is gone, man. Piece by piece, they cut us apart, man. Our revolution, can't, it just, I saw us get hacked into little pieces, and we're just this little piece that's left. So stop attacking each other, guys, because we need each other. Which leads me to my first meme of the day, which is, it's like the whole world is under a spell and only a few chosen people can see through it. Shit's crazy. And that's you guys. I see you guys as the few chosen people who can see through the shit, right? Because you guys are so well informed. And I could not just be more thankful for having such an awoke. Now, I won't say woke because we're not woke. We're past woke. We're informed. We're enlightened, right? Community. And I think that's what you guys are. So yeah, have your coffee. I got my tea. I'm doing tea this morning. I got my fam cup going on. I got these damn nails on for Halloween. Ugh, I can't get anything done. Typing, give up. I'm not typing anything this week at all. This is obviously a gift from the Combo Couch. I love my fam cup. So go over there and follow Fee and Pasta if you're not following the combo, but I know all of you are, right? Good morning, Ian. Aloha. Are you in Hawaii? I have never been. That's one of the places in our great country that I have actually never made it to. I would love to, but it's just never been in my financial plan, I would say. Okay, so let's get to headlines I don't want to cover. Let's see here. Okay, so I reported to you guys last week that Camille Vasquez, who was the hotshot little attorney on the Johnny Depp case, was hired by Kanye West, right? Now, Kanye is being sued for a couple of different reasons. They're kind of Sandy hooking his ass on, what is it? It'll come to me. And then he's got multiple lawsuits. Of course, he's got his divorce from Kim K too, which has been derailed. Well, that didn't last long anyways, because a week into it, Camille dumped his ass yesterday because he wouldn't roll back his anti-Semitic statements. Well, some say they're anti-Semitic, but the thing is, I see the visceral hate because of what he's saying. It riles everybody up. It's just like, yeah, Kanye's brain is broken, right? And now they're screaming for conservatorship for him. Howard Stern's like, whoa, we got to put him in a conservatorship. He lost his damn mind. You can't have that kind of money and that kind of power and say this type of stuff. So, and I've been reporting on these damn conservatorships for a couple of years now. And anytime that you have money, which means you have power, and you're not toeing the line, they want to throw your ass in a conservatorship. So yeah, Howard Stern, what a sellout piece of shit that guy has turned into. I mean, come on, raise your hand if you watched Howard Stern in the 90s, listen to Howard Stern in the 90s. He was a shock jock and he'd make you laugh and he'd say obscene things. And now he's just a shit lib ass kisser. And who watches him? Who's still watching Howard Stern? That is my question to everybody. Let's see, what do we got? Oh, the squad, 30 members of Congress finally sent a pathetic plea asking Biden to use diplomacy for Ukraine. Come on. And I love Comrade Missy Putin's tweet just a few minutes ago that said they've already walked this back and pledged alliance to Biden's war, which they have. It's not even 24 hours. They walked back there. We're going to be tough on this and we're going to be anti-war. And the only reason they did that is the likes of AOC taking heat, right? We've seen it a couple times this week where she's out there dancing. Listen. Oh, so terrible. If you still think that anybody associated with the Democratic Party is going to help us, get a clue, because it ain't ever going to happen. U.S. weighs security risks for must deal, including Twitter buy, Bloomberg News. So, of course, now the White House has got to step in and say, whoa, we don't know if this is monopoly or if he should have this control. And you know what I see going on here? Whether the left or the right wants to admit it, there is definitely control when it comes to the narrative and Twitter. And to have somebody who's been anti-narrative lately, but I don't think that he's anti-narrative, period, but have control of Twitter, that could be a big problem for them with the election, especially the 2024 election. I won't be surprised if Biden tries to interfere with this and use some kind of fucking monopoly excuse or, you know, something like that, because they're scared. They're scared they're going to lose the control over what we all know is the most popular social media site out there. I don't know why. I can't stand any of them, but it is. And let's see. Oh, and another headline I don't care to cover is the UK got a new prime minister, right? I don't even know the guy's name. I can't even say the guy's name. What is it? It's like Raheen. Is that what it is? I don't know. I'm not even going to attempt, but he just seems to be another cookie cutter. They rolled him out. He's going to toe the line for them. He's not going to change anything, but he's willing to do the dirty work that Truss wasn't. So those are headlines I don't care to cover. And you guys can go anywhere and find information on these stories. I mean, they're probably trending for all I know. This one pisses me off, and I'm probably going to rant a little bit about this one, guys. So, Bernie Warren beef. Who remembers the Bernie Warren beef? I do, because I was a Bernie, what was I? It was a Bernie super something. Super volunteer. I don't even know. I did so much for Bernie in so many different ways. And yeah, when that whole Warren Bernie beef, he's a sexist, right? Remember, he's a sexist. And now the same people that were out there screaming about Warren and she's a snake, right? Remember the whole snake emoji bullshit? Now they're begging for a Bernie Warren ticket. So things may suck now, but at least it's not as bad as it will be soon, is kind of my motto right now. And I just want to say to my friends, stop it. Stop it right now. Stop this shit. You know what Warren is. We have called Warren out for 7 years, and now Warren is not the ideal ticket for Bernie Sanders, and stop asking Bernie to run. For one, he's too old. We've seen what happens when they get a little bit older and they're in the White House. Biden got lost in his own fucking garden yesterday. And Warren's just a snake. She's always going to be a snake. So come on, guys. I love you guys. If you didn't learn over the last 7 years that the Democratic Party will cheat, lie, and steal from you every way that it can, it doesn't want Bernie to be president. If they wanted him or supported him, I think the last 2 runs and the millions and millions of dollars that we gave him would have done that. Please don't give these candidates money. Don't give them your energy, your time, or your support. The only way to do this is to be independent, to get behind anti-war, pro-labor candidates. That's all I see. Yeah, cis snake. Exactly, Julie. That's a good one. I got to put that one up. Yeah. Let me say hi to the chat now that the chat's been rolling in. Of course, Jilly just made it in here. Good morning, Jilly. I got a couple things on the deck from Jilly. She does a great job of helping me write these shows. And if you guys have stories that you want on here, you see it and nobody else is covering it, DM it to me. DM me on Twitter. I'm at Chanda-Masta. And you can help write the show too. Yona, good morning, Yona. Hey, it's Cold Fusion Gaming. If you're not following It's Cold Fusion Gaming, go follow. He does a lot of great videos. Jeffrey Parsons, welcome. Bella Lugusi's in here, gamer, of course, and Kate and Catalytic Centaur. Red Cloud. Hi, Red Cloud. I saw you over at Farron's feed last night. Oh, what funny feed. Farron cracks me the hell up. That girl, her voice is, I wish I could throw voices like her. Oh my gosh, she does her queen voice just cracks me up, and her sitting there reading about Buddy, her dog. If you haven't seen Buddy, he's super cute. Make sure you're following Fair and Balance, man. She's on the move too. I don't know what she's doing. She hasn't let it out of the bag that I know of, but she's got something big coming, I think. Let's see, what else do I got on the stack for you guys? This is old. This is from a while ago, but I see it resurfacing and I just have to play it because it's just so terrible and it's so cringy, and it just goes to show you how fake they are, how they can just project just act like a minister and pull your words long and roll them, and her and her little fake accents have just gotten really bad. So let's hopefully see if I have audio on this. Let's see if I have audio. Can you guys hear it? Ain't.
I don't have my headset on. They're saying no audio.
Okay, so I have no audio. Is that what I'm hearing? This is what I'm being told, is that I have no audio. I don't know why it does this. Let's see if I can try to get it in real time. But I got to get rid of this stupid little... Okay, we're just going to do this because I'm tired of playing with it. Why do I have no sound? I'm going to do a stop share. Re-grab it. Okay, let's try again. I don't know why it does this. There's nothing that can mess it up, but we'll see.
I'm proud to be a bartender. Ain't nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong.
There was audio? Okay. Let me think about this. Maybe if I turn that up.
In retail, folding clothes for other people to buy. There is nothing wrong with preparing the food that your neighbors will eat.
He goes, oh, girl, go on. I'm working on the sound guy. It's a combination of having all of the sounds in the right place. Oh, help if I had the right remote. Okay, so this is such a nightmare with this studio. I've really been thinking about changing studios because I have a different camera that would work better, but I can't capture it with this studio. Okay, I'm up as loud as it goes. Do I have audio, guys?
There is nothing wrong with driving the buses that take your family to work. There is nothing wrong with being a working person in the United States of America, and there is everything dignified about it. I am...
Heard it for 2 seconds, but was it loud? Maybe 77, maybe 82. You guys are confusing me. What's all the percentages about? You heard it for 2 seconds. Odd. Why is my sound not working?
Playing.
It is playing and you can hear it.
Yes.
Okay.
In fact, I'm encouraged when people remind
two different
the country
conversations.
of my past, not because of anything about my story, but because it communicates that if I could work in a restaurant and become a member of the United States Congress, so can you. So can you. What we need to do in radically deep problems is propose radically visionary solutions. Because radical doesn't mean crazy. Radical means addressing the root, addressing the rot. And that is why we have proposed a Green New Deal for the future of America. That is why within that legislation, and rather within that resolution, we do not shy away from bold conversations of healthcare, housing, and education as human rights, of living wages and dignified work, of policy that isn't just drafted with the next election in mind, but also with the next generation in mind.
But will they fight for any of those things when push comes to shove and it's there and they can fight for it? They never freaking will. And that's what they've showed us repeatedly. This was 3 years ago. Boy, things have changed in the last 3 years for AOC, but she's still proud to be a bartender. I was a bartender for many years, and proud or not, I did, I have a feeling either way. It was a low paying job that helped me pay my bills. Did I enjoy it? Fuck no. Dealing with drunks is the hardest thing in the world. To this day, I can't stand somebody who's inebriated drunk because of my years of being a bartender. But, I did it. It's one of those shitty jobs, but it's something I was proud of. Hell no. But AOC was proud of it because, that was her stepping stones to where she got. I don't know. If I had an education from where did she go? Boston? I think she went to Boston. If I had that type of education, I could tell you I wouldn't have been being a bartender or waiting tables. Just saying. Hopefully this sounds okay now. No one in his life loves him enough to put a stop to this shit, right? I think this was Biden lost in the garden yesterday. This is such a great point. I think I got this from Steve over at Slow News Day. This is cruel, right? And then I love how they ask, because we all know that president or, First Lady Jill Biden is behind the scenes, right? Propping him up and moving him along and protecting him and keeping the whole curtain up right now. This is just cruel. This is, especially when you've seen what he's been up to this week. Very, very cruel. But, and the fact that they're delusional enough to think that they could run him again. Come on. We all know better. We all fucking know better. Okay, so I had to bring this one to you guys. Let's see if I can go grab the screen share on it. Get out of here. Screen share. We want third screen with sound, right? Yeah. Sorry, guys. Cowboying this stuff on the fly, but I think I got it. Did you guys see this? Okay, of course, Oz sent this to me last night, not this version. He sent me the Hillary Clinton version. Oh my God, you guys, this election is in danger of being hacked by a foreign agency, it sounds like. So I love that somebody refaced Soros over Clinton's face. So we'll hear the message from Soros Clinton. Let's hope I have sound.
Hello, Indivisibles. I'm here to highlight something that is keeping me up at night. And I know this group really understands what I'm about to say.
It's so scary.
I know we're all focused on the 2022 midterm elections, and they are incredibly important. But we also have to look ahead because you know what? Our opponents certainly are. Right-wing extremists already have a plan to literally steal the next presidential election. And they're not making a secret of it. The right-wing controlled Supreme Court may be poised to rule on giving state legislatures, yes, you heard me that correctly, state legislatures the power to overturn presidential elections. Just think, if that happens, the 2024 presidential election could be decided not by the popular vote or even by the anachronistic electoral college, but by state legislatures.
The horror.
Many of them Republican controlled.
Oh, no.
But there's also good news in the face of this very real threat to democracy. Indivisible has launched Crush the Coup to make sure we're ready to defend democracy in 2024. They've put together a list of critical races in 6 key states and how you can get involved. Will you support Crush the Coup by donating to Indivisible and state legislature candidates? Each of these races is highly competitive, and your dollars could very well decide the winners and the winner of the next presidential election. This could not be more important or more urgent.
So here we go, guys. They're already working to rig 2024. Let's talk about Indivisible. Okay, so I used to chair a huge Bernie group. It was pretty much the whole North Olympic Peninsula. And I went into the Democratic Party that, was pretending to support Bernie. I met everybody in my area I could, from my county, the next county over. Every Friday at 1:00, we would hold a Bernie meeting. and literally hundreds of people would show up. I would have 50 to 100 people in that meeting in the height of 2016. And then along came Invisible, right? And everybody in that group had to get a hold of it. And I remember, okay, I'll check into it. I'll read about this group. I'll look into this group. You know, remember they were modeling themselves after the Rainbow Coalition, right? I think is what it was. And they had a handbook with page after page on how to organize, how to bring people in, you know, what to do, what type of fundraising to do. I mean, they had it right down to the letter. And immediately I was like, oh no, this is a Soros funded group. This has to be a Soros funded thing, right? And back then, if you said Soros funded, especially inside the Democratic Party, oh my God, you were a conspiracy theorist. How dare you? And literally half of my group broke off and went and moved into the Invisibles. That was the first time I saw a clipping of the Bernie group. And it was like, what the hell are you people doing? Like, did you not just see what the Democratic Party just did to us? How they treated us, how they lied to us, how they gaslit us, how they had people arrested during primaries, how everything that we saw in 2016. I could not wrap my mind around all of these friends. They were our friends. We'd worked so many events together, you know, just moving into the Indivisibles. And yeah, she's channeling Soros. I could not believe it. And here we are years later. And of course, Hillary's out here with this message, you know, going to the state legislators as a trained vote observer. And I have taken hours of training, and I have spent hours upon hours at my county courthouse, in the assessor's office, in the basement, watching ballots be open, validated, and counted, if you want to call it that. And to say that it would be terrible for it to go to the state legislators, I remember in 2016, the Democrats, if they would have had this option in 2016, they would have thrown Trump out. And they wanted this option in 2016. One of our very own, I don't even know what to call her. Anyways, she was voted the electoral for Washington State. You know, they got to send so many to the state capitol to cast the vote, and then it becomes the actual electoral vote, and they send it off, right? Well, they had a campaign of how they were going to flip those votes, and then Trump would not become president, and that was driven by these same people, right? So if this would have happened, they would have utilized it, just like every Dem does. Talk bad about it unless you can weaponize it and use it for yourselves. This is going to be crazy, guys. I mean, we already see in multiple states them just sending ballots to everybody on the roll, right? That's the way it is in most blue states. That's the way it is in Washington State. I know that's the way it is in Nevada. I'm sure California's doing it. I'm sure Oregon's doing it. So the West is just sending out millions of ballots. Here, just fill them out, send them back. So this is going to give them, you know, gives... How can we even put any validity into these elections? This is so insane. Either way, we're not looking good, guys. Either way. Let's see what nothing is less than. I'm trying to read your guys' comments. They're going by so fast. I'm so sorry. So yeah, Hillary Soros already pre-warning you and setting the trap, right? They're setting the bait. Like, here we go, guys. It's never going to end. So I love this meme here. Let me get back to my other screen. No, not that one. I want that one. And I want sound, please. Okay, there we go. I love this meme here. 13 million registered United States voter. 74 million Trump voters. 81 million Biden. 74 plus 81 equals 155. You don't need to be Einstein to clearly see that there is, you know, that F word that I'm not allowed to say on YouTube. Just saying. And it's just going to get worse. It's just going to get worse. We know it's going to get worse. This is something I don't really want to cover. And I don't even know if I'm allowed to say this DB word on YouTube, because I kind of researched it yesterday and nobody's talking about this on YouTube. I'm not sure why, but yes, yesterday the Russians came out, and I think I actually had it. Let me see if I can get it. The Russians came out and said that they had intel saying that. Okay, get out of here, evil Hillary.
Hello,
No,
indivisibles.
shush. Shush, shush. Okay, I do have it. Unless it just disappeared on me. I want to say, I can't remember what his official title is in Russia. Gosh darn it, where did it go? It was just there. You guys just saw it. It's gaslighting me. Anyways, they came out, they said they have intel saying that Ukraine is planning on using a dirty bomb, right? And we've kind of talked about this in the past, you know. Yeah, I don't put anything past Lazinski or Zelensky, the left, you know, the US. Yeah, we know what they want. They just want to keep poking the bear, literally poking the bear. And but then there was a lot of pushback saying, no, it's Russia that's going to use it. And then I've heard a bunch of pundits say, no, this is America's bullshit idea. Either way, I do believe that's a good meme. It's just garbage, right? Somebody's like, oh, they already let off a dirty bomb in Russia and they showed a bunch of garbage. But either way, this is a good catalyst for war, right? You go back and you look at history, and I'm still trying to find it. You go back and look at history and how there it is. Yeah, I found it. Okay.
На Украине. У нас есть информация, конкретная информация относительно тех учреждений на Украине, тех научных институтов, которые обладают технологиями, позволяющими соорудить.
So they have the technology to build a dirty bomb.
Есть информация, которую мы.
We have information that we have verified through appropriate channels. I don't know what those are, but.
Не пустое подозрение, что здесь есть серьезные основания полагать, что подобные вещи могут планировать.
They announced that this is a real thing. This is really what their intel is telling them what's happening. But we all know that this would be a great catalyst to pop off World War III, right? Because we're just on the edge right there, and it won't take much. So just like with the Nord Stream pipeline, who done it, right? If you go back and you look at every war that we've ever been in, you know, World War I, World War II, Korean War, Vietnam War, every one of them was started by either a false flag or by misinformation that we, the American people, were told, right? Because they have to get us all riled up for us to support this shit. So I would not be shocked if it was a plan and if the US was behind it. But you know what? I don't trust any of these governments. So all three governments could be behind it. So it's a scary time and place to be in. You don't know who to believe. You don't know what to believe. And who's telling the truth? I know I don't trust our government, but then I don't trust any governments. I certainly don't trust China. I certainly don't trust Russia. I definitely don't trust Ukraine. I'm kind of at a loss for words on this one, guys. I'm scared because I think that this is where we're going, whether we want to go there or not, and look at what the fallout would do. I love this. Ukraine news says Russian lies about Ukraine's alleged planning to use a dirty bomb. They're obscure as they are dangerous. First, the Ukraine is committed. NPT, remember? Well, we neither have any dirty bombs nor plan on acquiring any. Secondary, Russia often accuses others of what they planned themselves. Okay, projecting, like Hillary Clinton was just projecting. Yeah, they all project, man. You can pretty much, we live in opposite world. You hear one thing, just flip it, and it's the opposite. It is scary, though. It is scary if something like that did happen, the amount of people that would be hurt and killed, our crops, contamination. I mean, we're already so screwed, guys. We know it. We talk about it every day, right? Okay, get past the news I didn't really want to cover. This is a good one. Fredo's got a new job. Did you guys see him? He's hanging out over at News Nation talking about the important stuff. And I couldn't help but bring you guys this one because I just laughed as I was watching this one. So since he's on the cutting edge of getting good reporting out there, he decided to talk to a husband and wife. One's a Republican, one's a Democrat, on how they handled their how they started communicating over their differences of the party alliance, and you just gotta love his input. So just listen for it.
Well, the hardest point was as we were heading into the 2020 elections. I had been assuming, based on what happened in 2016, that Rick was going to vote for a third party. And as we were heading towards the elections, I found out he was planning to vote for Trump. And I just felt like the earth was opening up under my feet, because it confused me and really made me question whether I understood where he was coming from at all.
So it wasn't just politics, it was personal. Rick, did you get that?
Yeah, it actually didn't feel personal. She hung on to, she kept talking about, I'm a person of integrity, I'm an honest person, I'm sincere in my beliefs, I'm thoughtful, I do my research. And so given all that, and given how she saw things differently, she just couldn't understand how I was making that choice.
Now, a lot of people, though, Barbara, will say, well, you got to get over it. It's just politics. He's going to vote for somebody. You may like it. You may not like it. What made this so different?
Well, it had been a difficult time work-wise and trying to represent America to the rest of the world, when I felt like we were increasingly tearing ourselves apart at home. And things were really, really challenging on the foreign policy front, and that was related to what was happening in the White House. And so it was distressing to me. I know, as Rick was saying, I know him to be a principled conservative. I knew he didn't particularly think Trump was conservative. So I had assumed he was going in a different direction, and it just felt like things turned upside down when I realized that was his choice.
Listen, brother, I married into a family of you. And it was a unique proposition for real conservatives to say, this guy does not check the boxes that I would want, but I am not voting for Hillary Clinton. I'll tell you that right now. It was that. And a lot of people couldn't understand it. I understood it because I was hearing it all the time. So what did you learn mattered about allowing you to communicate your way through this, that now you're trying to help other couples and people who disagree with? Rick, we'll start with, you learned you got to change tone. How so?
Well, I think the first thing is that you just need to change the mindset that you're using when you come into a conversation and you're trying to communicate across differences. Barbara didn't try to convince me of anything. She really was seeking to understand.
Okay, so as repulsive as that was, I love how I married into a family of you. Of who? Of people? I mean, just more of that political divide. So yeah, Fredo's back to doing the tough work and asking the tough questions over on News Nation. And, we had a local reporter here. I want to say her name was Marnie Hughes. She was on Fox for like 15 years. She did the morning show. I mean, every morning. And we always would make fun about how uptight she was. Well, one day I noticed she was gone off the local Fox, and I'll be damned if a week later she didn't pop up on News Nation. So yeah, Fredo doing the tough work and asking the hard questions. This whole a politically mixed couple. Come on. I mean, that's just more labels, more dividing. That's exactly what they want, right? They definitely want to step it up coming into the midterms and definitely going into the next election. They just want us all divided and fighting. He did another interview. I watched that. I contemplated bringing that one instead of this one. He was talking about independents, and independents are making up 85% of voters that are not party affiliated now. And he was like, oh, they tend to go Republican, right? And the guy was like, no. They tend to go on the issues and the candidates. We've got to stop lumping independent voters in with one side or the other, particularly Republican, because the same people who voted for Obama are the same people who voted for Trump, who are going to vote for, whoever in 2024, and it ain't going to be Biden. So stop with this shit. All News Nation did was become CNN Light. That's all I see with Fredo over there. Good morning, Anthony, or day, whatever it is where you're at. Indy, welcome, Indy. popping in to drop a like while working. We appreciate you, Indy, so much. You guys do such great work for everybody. We appreciate you. Thank you for always getting our new shows out there, our information. If you're not following indie media, they're doing a great job of promoting all of our brothers and sisters in independent media. Good morning, Sinead. Let's see. I got a long one on here. Oh God, we got to talk about UBI, guys. I used to be a dumb UBI. Let's get UBI. I want free money. I can't make my bills with the money that I make, so I need my government to subsidize it, right? I used to absolutely believe that. I used to, during 2016, I was campaigning for UBI. And then in 2017, I went to the People's Summit and I sat down and I had an hour conversation with a bunch of people that did an actual UBI study in Canada. And I left the table disagreeing with them. And it woke me up because there's no other way to describe it, to the fact that UBI is just universal control, right? We're fighting back against our government. And we really saw this with COVID since 2020, right? They want to give you something, but they want control, right? We'll give you the job, but then you got to get this passport and let us know that you had it. And I just see this as another way, another means of control over the populace, right? So if they give us UBI, well, then it'll be on an electronic debit transfer card. And then if you don't do what they say, you don't go get your 108th booster, then sorry, you're not getting your UBI and you're going to lose your house and you're going to lose your life and you'll end up out on the streets, basically. So I think this is a little bit long clip from Nolan. I think this is 4 minutes, but it is worth it. And we need people to wake up that we can't get a free handout from the government without something in return. Nothing's for free, and we know that.
We see a ramp up of the topic of universal basic income, or UBI. The idea of universal basic income is that everyone will in the future get a certain salary a month from the government without doing anything or having to do anything for it. Now, this sounds like a wonderful thing for many people, and it sounds like the manifestation of what they wanted all along. But please stop right there. We need to dissect it and make sure that we really understand what's happening here. This is part of this cabal's plan to completely subdue and control mankind. However, when we hear the word universal basic income, and they say oftentimes unconditional basic income, we need to understand nothing could be further from the truth. This income in the beginning, just like every other program, would be unconditional. And of course, you would get it no matter what. However, once you begin seeing the bigger picture and that universal basic income would be tied to a digital currency, which is happening at the same time. We've had the infamous executive order signed in March here in the United States that is going to start taking effect in December, with the creation, official now, the creation of a digital dollar. And of course, this has been happening all over the world. It's happening in the European Union. It's happening in other countries and on other continents. The creation of digital currency. Now, let's pair that with the universal basic income. So no paper money and everything is digital. That's their plan. And the third step in this trifecta of total control is a digital ID. You know, the likes of all politicians on the left have been talking about this for many, many years. Of course, the global thinkers a la Klaus Schwab, you know, we could call them a lot of different things, but of course, he's been out there, the World Economic Forum, they're talking about the fourth industrial revolution and the digital ID, the universal basic income, and of course, digital currency are the main components of this. But why? What's the problem with this? Well, let me paint a picture for you. They might tell you that your universal basic income will be unconditional, which means you don't have to do anything for it. But what about your digital ID that will be directly tied to that? That's their idea. Everything you do, everywhere you go, you log onto the internet, you go into a store, you drive a car, you're in public transportation, you fly somewhere, you need your digital ID. Your digital ID is not like your passport where it's issued and you have it. It's actually going to be a fluent thing. What that means is your digital ID would be directly connected with your vaccine or medical passport. So then when you have a green light, it means you're up to date. It means your ID is current. It means you have fulfilled all the conditions to have your ID in a current status. When you're behind your medical needs, like when you're behind on the shot plan or you're behind on anything else, that ID would go from green to orange to red, means you can't use it anymore. If you can't use it, you can't cash in your universal basic income check, and
Therein lies the problem. Yona, that's amazing. Gene Nolan's a good friend of Yona. Yona's doing a series on the channel, Inspired. I have to look around my camera to read it because it was behind there. But that is amazing. I love the Inspired channel. They have such a calm energy about them. Great information, great interviews. I mean, he had one with Kathy. Oh, the MK Ultra, Kathy. You guys will tell me. And then he did one, of course, with David Icke. That was amazing. I just love his work, and I love his calming, coming at this, type of energy. So, yeah, UBI. I used to buy into it. I used to think, with wages the way they are, if they're not going to give us a living wage, they got to give us a UBI, especially with AI coming in and taking jobs like all the Walmart grocery scanners, right? But now I'm just like, oh shit, it's just another way for them to control us and make us fall in line with these digital IDs. And, traveling the last couple of weeks, everywhere you go is a damn QR code. You sit down at a restaurant, QR code. You go somewhere, QR, everything is QR codes. There is no customer service. There is no interaction between you and, another human being. It's just, scan the QR code and then you'll get your choices, right? So we are moving into that digital era. We have been for some time. COVID speeded it up. And if you think that the digital ID and passport has gone away, no, it's just sitting there on a shelf waiting for the next pandemic, the next tragedy, the next, whatever to slide us right into it, because it'll be necessary. UBI, I do see as a safety net, Jilly. I do. I think that there's so many people that could benefit from a UBI, but I much like universal healthcare, which I have fought for many years. I'm now I've drawn that line to where, okay, I'm not willing to bargain with the devil to get universal healthcare, but have to sell my soul for it, right? And I feel the same way about UBI. Of course, I want these things for people. I want all people to have healthcare. I want all people to be able to make their rent and pay their bills and not struggle, for basic things, food, hygiene products, things like that. But are we bargaining with the devil for these things? And I think the way that this government is at this time and how we're going forward, I think it might be bargaining with the devil. So not to say I wouldn't take a UBI if somebody handed me one. Of course I probably would. But then therein is the problem, right? Now I have become subservient to their needs and what they want if I want to keep getting that UBI. I've never played with the credit system. I'll tell you guys, when I turned 18, I already had my first child, right? And I got all these credit card applications in the mail. Oh, you're 18, get a credit card because you're going to college. Well, I wasn't going to college. I already had kids. I was already working. So I didn't do that, right? I didn't go get credit cards because I didn't have a reason to. I mean, I could have got credit cards and bought myself TVs and whatever with it, but I knew better not to. And then being a woman and having, marriages with men where the credit basically in the 80s and 90s was built in their name, maybe occasionally my name was put on a bill. I never played the credit score game. I have never, I think I probably have a worse credit score than most people are born with. And that's just because I don't have credit. I have absolutely refused for the last 30 years to play the credit score game. I don't buy anything on credit. I've never bought anything on credit. I was taught by my family, if you want something, you earn the money, you have the money, you go buy what you want. You don't buy it on credit. So I've never played the credit game with them, which is ultimately the same thing, right? So I have been excluded from some aspects of our society. I can't buy a house because I don't have credit. I mean, I got lucky and I do own a house, but that's because it's a mobile. Like we all know, I live in a trailer park, and there's ways around it. There's always ways around it. So hopefully there'll be ways around this crap, and we will try them. But thank you, Gene. He's such a calming person. His wife's amazing too. Jimmy Dore. I wonder if Jimmy got his website fixed. Does anybody know? Did Jimmy get his website fixed, guys? Anyways, let's talk about the cops. The strong arm of the global elite is what these are. And we're going to see more and more. I mean, we saw plenty of the cops beating people down over the last 3 years, right? 5 years. But I think as these labor movements get more pissed off and they start pushing back, then we're really going to see the authoritarianism of our militarized police. And when we said defund the police, we weren't saying just get rid of cops altogether. We don't need them. We were saying stop giving them enough money to buy tanks and, surplus militarized artillery. That's what we were saying, but nobody seemed to have understood that. And this is where we find ourselves in at this time. But let's check out this. This is Jimmy.
So in Boston, the cops are arresting people who are striking at Cisco. It's the world's largest food distributor, Cisco. Local outlet WCVB reports a massive law enforcement presence and multiple people being loaded into the back of a police van. So there's workers, and what do they always do? What are cops there for? They're not there to protect you. Cops are there to protect capitalists' property. That's what they're there. And so here we go. You want to see the cops who are... So now there's the protesters, and they're arresting them.
Now, are they on duty or privately hired by the company
the
other one that we did?
Good question. I'm going to guess to arrest them, you have to be on duty. And there they are putting them in vans. So workers are standing up finally against the oligarchy, but the oligarchs have their tools. They paid, right? So that's why cops get good benefits and they get good time off. They get overtime pay. Cops get paid well. And why? Because the oligarchs need them to squash you. That's what they're really there for. Cops don't really stop crime. I know that sounds funny. What stops crime is good jobs. That's what stops crime. Anyway.
Well, up until you get to the top of like Goldman Sachs, and it seems to cause crimes.
That's Marshfield, Plimpton police seen arresting people at Cisco Boston strike. While continuing their strike, Cisco Boston workers were met with a massive police presence Monday morning. Plimpton police made between 16 and 20 arrests at the site of the strike outside the Cisco food distribution plant, CBS Boston reported. Reasons for the arrests varied, from assault and battery to disorderly conduct. Police were seen by WCVB reporters and photographers loading several handcuffed people into the backs of vans, while screenshots of a person or multiple people being tackled by police were tweeted out by the same network. Shouts of "hold that line" were heard as Marshfield police apprehended a man at the strike, one photographer tweeted. Since the strike began on October 1st, over 300 workers have walked out of the job with the intent to return only if a new contract is reached. Voting overwhelming mass live. So they voted overwhelmingly in favor of a strike. Negotiations between Teamsters Local 653 and the company failed on October 5th as the strike by Cisco Syracuse workers also erupted, according to a Teamsters Facebook post. Cisco pushes its workers to the physical brink as if they were disposable robots, said Sean M. O'Brien. That's the Teamsters general president in the same Facebook post. Our members work hard, but they must be compensated with a secure and quality retirement and affordable health care. I'm surprised that Teamsters are supporting that. Usually they're co-opted by the people they're supposed to be organizing against.
How bad is Cisco?
Right?
Bad.
Cisco's okaying, the Teamsters are okaying them to strike. No longer will we allow this company to churn workers and then throw them away. They are going to continue to stand up and fight for what they deserve. We are staying on the strike line. One day longer, one day stronger.
So yes, Cisco, if you don't know who Cisco is and you think that you don't support Cisco, I hate to break it to you, but you do. Anytime you eat in a restaurant, anytime you stop at a gas station, they supply so much stuff. Being in the service industry as much as I was, I mean, even when I owned an espresso stand, we would order from Cisco. Every restaurant, every bar, you know, orders from Cisco. That's where you get napkins and, you know, cups and just the shit you need for a business. And so much of our food prep comes from them. This is terrible. It's just, you know, it's just the beginning. We're going to see it get much worse, especially with inflation this winter that we're coming into. We're going to see workers starting to rise up and say, hey, what is the point of me working 40 hours if I can't even make my basic bills, if I can't pay my rent, if I can't make my house payment, if I can't put gas in my car to get to work or feed my family or pay my power bill? You know, when enough workers realize they can't meet those obligations, then we're going to see more unions rising up. And Jimmy's got a point to say that the union actually was like, yeah, these guys suck. We need to strike. Yeah. Normally, they're just as corrupt as the company that they're striking against. So that is shocking. But not shocking that they would send the police to do their work, right? That's what the police are there for. We all know it. The police are not here to protect you or I or to protect our possessions. They are there to protect the oligarchies. That's who pays them. That's who controls them. Okay, this one's long. I'm going to play it. We're going to take breaks in it. I want to say it's 9 minutes, but it's worth every minute of it. I'm not a huge fan of this channel, but they got this one right. This is geoengineering, and every bit of this, what they say in here is absolutely true. There's even more footage that they could have added, congressional hearings where they admitted to geoengineering. This pisses me off because yesterday I saw a shirt that said, the earth is not flat. Geoengineering is not real. Blah, 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 blah. Right. And they just lump all these conspiracies together. And the comments, I'm not even kidding. There was 50,000 comments of, yeah, I can't wait to get a shirt like this. People are so stupid. All these conspiracy theories who believe that we didn't land on the moon. Okay. You know what? When it comes to landing on the moon or any of this other stuff, maybe not. A flat earth, I absolutely don't believe in flat earth. I mean, quite the contrary. But for geoengineering, to lump it in with the other conspiracy theories, it's just wrong because there's so much proof out there that it's true, that this is what is happening. So let's play a little bit. I'll probably pause. We'll talk, then we'll play some more because I want to say this is a 9-minute clip, and I never bring more than a 4-minute clip for you guys because I know I get bored if I'm stuck watching something for too long, but the information in this is great and reliable.
It lays the predicate and the foundation for the development of a weather satellite that will permit man to determine the world's cloud layer and ultimately to control the weather, and he who controls the weather will control the world.
Project Cirrus is the first official attempt to modify a hurricane. It was run by General Electric with the support of the U.S. military. The official theory was that by changing the temperature outside the eye wall of a hurricane, which they did by seeding the clouds with various compounds such as silver iodide, a decrease in strong winds will result. On October 13th, 1947, Project Cirrus targeted a hurricane heading out to sea. Approximately 180 pounds of dry ice was dropped into the clouds. The crew then reported a pronounced modification of the cloud deck, and the hurricane abruptly changed direction and made landfall near Savannah, Georgia. The public blamed the government. Irving Langmuir, who pioneered General Electric's atmospheric research department and admitted that the project was about learning how to weaponize the weather, also claimed the reversal of the hurricane had been caused by Project Cirrus, but the government denied it for 12 years. After a short delay, the project officially continued, and in 1965, Project Storm Fury had targeted Hurricane Betsy for seeding. On that day, the storm immediately changed direction and made landfall in southern Florida. Congress blamed it on Project Storm Fury, but the government claimed that the hurricane shifted before they ever had a chance to seed it, And after 2 months of congressional hearings, the project was allowed to continue. During the Vietnam War, weather modification was weaponized
offensive,
in
yep.
Operation Popeye. And as a result, starting in October of 1978, an international treaty now prohibits the military use of weather modification. In 1997, U.S. Defense Secretary William Cohen said that we have enemies capable of altering the climate and setting off earthquakes and volcanoes remotely through the use of electromagnetic waves. And so controlling the weather seems to be a very real thing. And while the media lies to you, the government has placed gag orders on employees of the National Weather Service, who have sought legal counsel to reverse these illegal gag orders. And they no longer need to seed the clouds.
That's what it looks like at my house almost every
Or as
day.
John Brennan of the CIA calls it, stratospheric aerosol injection, allows these black government projects the ability to put whatever they want into the skies. And HAARP has the ability to change
We're going
the
to talk about HAARP.
temperature within the ionosphere. In congressional hearings, it was made known that HAARP was a successful operation of controlling the ionosphere with ultra-high powered radio frequency, and that the Air Force and DARPA went on to develop their own versions.
The Air Force has gotten great value out of HAARP in the past. We took it over from the Navy and managed it, and actually did a number of experiment campaigns up there, and have finished our work that we're interested in doing up there. We've
We're going to talk about HAARP. I know HAARP shot a beam to the moon and to Jupiter yesterday. That's up next. So just listen to what they're saying about HAARP. It was successful, right? That they managed to manipulate the weather, but the problem was it wasn't big enough and it wasn't powerful enough. So DARPA had to go build its own. In the meantime, they handed over the HAARP to the University of Alaska Fairbanks. So let's continue.
moving on to other ways of managing the ionosphere, which the HAARP was really designed to do, was to inject energy into the ionosphere to be able to actually control it. And but that work has been completed.
Frequency transmission manipulation of hurricanes is one of hundreds of patents on weather control. With conductive particles added to the storm, radio frequencies from multiple locations can steer a hurricane. According to geoengineeringwatch.org, this happened with Hurricane Ian.
This is Hurricane Ian, passing near the NexRad transmission facility in Key West, Florida. When the transmission facilities are fully energized, they have a repelling effect on any air mass that has been saturated with electrically conductive climate engineering elements. As Hurricane Ian is allowed to make landfall, the frequency transmission facility in Melbourne, Florida is fully engaged. This effectively slows Ian's migration inland. The transmissions can diminish precipitation in some regions while augmenting it in others.
The U.S. Air Force is sending up canisters into the atmosphere filled with chemicals.
Another example is the array of technologies, often referred to collectively as geoengineering. One that has gained my personal attention is stratospheric aerosol injection, or SAI. A method of seeding the stratosphere with particles that a fully deployed SAI program would cost about $10 billion yearly.
$10 billion.
As promising as it may be, moving forward on SAI would also raise a number of challenges for our government and for the international community and other geoengineering initiatives.
We shall propose further cooperative effort between all the nations in weather prediction and eventually in weather control.
What we're seeing now, and I first could not believe it, and I started looking at the skies, and these are not normal. They're not natural. There's something going on. I don't know who it is or why they're doing it.
That's a pilot.
All I can testify is it's not natural and it's not normal. It's got to be some outside influence doing that.
I'm here to give you testimony that chemtrails, they're not contrails, are indeed real. They're spraying almost every day. I watch the clouds and watch the spraying program going on. I want to tell you that we're in very great danger from the pollution that's coming down over us. And we've been led astray by the military-industrial complex, and they're responsible for the cloud's creation and weather manipulation programs. They're dark operations.
When you look up at the sun and you see a white haze, that is aluminum floating in the air right now, and it's coming from the aircraft.
So they're saying when you look up into the atmosphere and you see a white haze and not a blue sky, That is the shit they've been spraying on us. That's the aluminum reflecting the sunlight back into the atmosphere, which has been their goal and their plan, right? Because they were going to slow down global warming by doing this. But I don't even know if that was truly their intention, because with the amount of research that they have done since the 40s into weather manipulation, they know what they're doing. I mean, I'll never forget who used to watch daytime soaps back in the 80s. I'll never forget in the early 80s, they actually had a storyline on General Hospital where they had a weather control machine to control the damn world. I mean, we've been talking about this for many, many years, and it floors me the amount of people who say to me, "Oh, you're so stupid. Those are contrails, not chemtrails. That's condensation coming out of the back of the plane." On an 80-degree day with the blue sky, I don't, okay, maybe it's colder. Yes, we know it's colder up there, but I'm not buying it. I used to be able to look up at the Olympic Mountains on a beautiful sunny day and see them picturesque, clear, cutting, into the blue sky. You could see the outline. I haven't seen that in a long freaking time. I mean, every time it is actually cloudy here, the day before they've seeded us, and I can go out there and it'll be crisscross applesauce all over the sky. And I will be like, oh, it's going to be cloudy and rain tomorrow. And that's exactly what it is. I mean, people just floor me. My brother is just like, you're an idiot. This is condensation. You don't obviously understand how a plane works. Like, I do, but you're not paying attention to all of the evidence that's came out there. So let's keep going.
You want some figures? Okay, latest water test. Tested the rain. 13,100 micrograms per liter of aluminum in the rain in 2013. Normally, it should be zero.
If people are finding contamination, wouldn't they come here to address it? But nothing's being done? I don't know. We're investigating this, and there's a huge concern that people are getting sick. Well, I mean, we've interviewed several people. We've been here for a week. Yeah. So you're saying there is no concern? I mean, there is a concern. Many people in the county have told us that they've addressed specifically with you this very issue.
I thought I was shaky.
Barium and aluminum is being dumped out of airplanes because they can see it in the contrails going over.
Okay. Here's my question. If there's aluminum contamination, which is very toxic, is that something that you're supposed to deal with?
If it's in the air.
It appears
if it's in the air.
Contamination. Does that concern you? I mean, personally,
it doesn't appear to me that there's contamination.
Does it concern you?
Here with Kristen Megan, who's actually a U.S. military whistleblower. She has an amazing, fascinating story that we will share with you here today. Now, Kristen, can you tell us what branch of the military you were in and what you uncovered?
Sure. I was in the Air Force on active duty for 9 years, and I worked in bioenvironmental engineering. One part of that process was to approve chemicals, hazardous materials. What are you using? Why do you need it? Where's it being used? And tracking that disposal. After it being brought to my attention about chemtrails or geoengineering, I used to think it was crazy. It actually was disrespectful to my line of work, because here we are trying to prevent environmental aspects and impacts and not have anybody get sick from our operations. But in an attempt to debunk, it changed my life. I started noticing things. I started noticing large quantities on the system where I would approve chemicals that did not have a manufacturer name, wasn't tied to a building. When I started asking questions, I slowly became demonized. A couple years passed after that, when I asked again and people realized I was kind of being more vocal about it on social media, I was starting to be thrown into a mental institution and have my daughter taken away.
Wow.
That changed my life. I no longer view the military the same way, and I feel like after 9 years of trying to uphold an oath, I'm able to do that now. I feel they're getting ready to admit it, and they're trying to sell it to us. It's kind of like they sell it back to us. They sell fluoride to us.
Yep.
Fluoride is a mining waste product. Well, how can we make that good? Put it in your water. So I think that they're trying to now kind of admit it and act like they're going to start doing it.
And that's exactly what we saw, right? Just this week, they're asking for $10 billion. They say that they can do it. And here's what's happening. They've been doing this. We've been telling you, and you know, so many whistleblowers and investigative reporters, Luke Wadowski, we've been telling you this shit is happening. It's real. They're already doing it. Well, here's the thing. I think they've effed up our jet stream, or intentionally or unintentionally. You know, we live in the Pacific Northwest. What are we known for? Our rain. We have had so little rain this year. It's shocking. I mean, I'm just shocked by how little rain. I go to the Dungeness River, which I just live a block from, and it's like a creek now. And yeah, it's the end of fall, so it's not quite the rainy season. It should be the rainy season. Rain should have started here a couple of weeks ago, and it's just now starting to pick up. But, you know, we see these mega droughts happening in the Southwest. We see, you know, we just see this happening from coast to coast, the changing of our weather. And people are like, oh, well, it's climate change. You know, climate change is changing our weather. It very well could be climate change, but it also is being helped along by these guys. And so they used to fund this stuff off books, you know, black books, right? They used to get the blacks funding for it. But now they want more funding for it. So that's why they're coming forward. They've been coming forward. Anybody paying attention to this story knows that they have been admitting this for years and years and years. I mean, congressional interviews, hearings, you know, they admit this stuff all of the damn time. I love that. That was a great clip. That was Anonymous, which Anonymous, they have a right lean on everything. So I was a little shocked to see that one come through. If you want to watch the rest of it, basically the end of that clip was them going out and grabbing a handful of snow. Everybody's seen this, where they take the snow and they try to burn it, right? And if you take a lighter to snow, what do you expect to happen? You take a lighter to ice, it drips, it melts, you know, that's fire and ice make water. But that's not what's happening. If you've ever seen any of these videos where people go out and grab a handful of snow and then they burn it, and it just like black soot just shows up on the snow and it doesn't even melt. It's the craziest thing. I've actually tried it myself. I've known people to try it. And yeah, that was a great clip, huh, Jelly? I agree. That was a great clip. What's going on? I saw Vic had a message here. Let me see. I want to see this. I'm livid. I just helped a young girl push her car out of the intersection. All these fucking people just sat there in their cars. I hate this fucking world. Oh, Vic, I hear you. That hurts my heart. There's so much hate, and just get out of my way. You're making me late. You know, you're slowing me down. Nobody wants to help anybody. Can you imagine that poor girl? Thank you for helping her. Thank you. You know, somebody step up and be the decent human being. God, is that so hard to ask? Be decent. Just be decent to each other. I love our community because we are decent. And like I said, we are rare. We are a rare little community, but I'm so thankful for every one of you guys and all of the knowledge that you bring in, that you know, and, you know, just this is the future. It's coming together in our little communities, right? Hey, Mom, I see Amber's hanging out, but climate change. Yeah, but climate change. So let's talk about HAARP. I know Amber knows a lot about HAARP, being from Alaska. Of course, this happened this week, where they are shooting a beam to Jupiter, right? Yeah. Bouncing it off the moon and shooting it to Jupiter. But, you know, HAARP doesn't do anything.
This is Dabu7.
Dabu.
And it looks like the experiments have been fired back up at HAARP, because as of right now, they are conducting the largest set of experiments that they've ever conducted at this new observatory at the HAARP location that we're all so familiar with. Now, the University of Alaska Fairbanks operates this facility near Gakona. And you have a slew of different groups that are tied into this, from NASA, from JPL, the Navy, University of California, Berkeley, many different groups tied in to these 13 experiments that are going to be carried out over a 10-day period, which started last Wednesday. And they are saying that they have bounced a signal off the moon. They're also trying to learn more about this mysterious polar light that we've talked about in other live streams and videos. And they're also sending a beam to Jupiter. So a big array of experiments here. They're saying that this is the highest so far under
Did it
this
get better?
5-year, $9.3 million grant awarded.
Apparently you guys can't hear that one, and I have it cranked as high as I can get it. Let's see if I can back it up just a little bit. This is Dabu 7, and yeah, he's just talking about how HARP is shooting this beam from HARP to the moon and bouncing it off the moon and sending it to Jupiter. But this is the start of 10 days of experiments that they're doing, shooting beams out there. Let's see if it's any louder. I did turn it up.
NASA, from JPL,
Is it better?
the
Okay.
Navy,
Okay.
University of California, Berkeley, many different groups tied in to these 13 experiments that are going to be
13.
carried out over a 10-day period, which started last Wednesday. And they are saying that they have bounced a signal off the moon. They're
Me
also
too,
trying
gamer.
to learn more about this mysterious polar light.
What
that
is
we
this
talked
polar
about
light?
in
I need
other
to
live streams and
investigate this
videos.
polar light. I'm going to write that
They're
down.
also sending a beam to Jupiter. So a big array of experiments here. They're saying that this is the highest so far under this 5-year, $9.3 million grant awarded by the National Science Foundation to establish a sub-aurora geophysical observatory at HARP. So it's all going down at HARP at their main location. They've added to it, and they've got a slew of new experiments they're popping on.
Okay, so as he heard, they've got a slew of new experiments that they're popping off. I don't know what this polar light is. I'm going to look into it for you guys. If you guys know what this polar light they're talking about is, let me know. Oh, Amber just dropped a link over in the Rokfin chat. heart.gi.alaska.aud. I will have to check it out. Yeah, if you guys know what this polar light is they're talking about. But I've always kept an eye on HARP because we knew, it says site can't be reached. Maybe it's just my system though, Amber. We knew that they had been using this for, nefarious experiments in the past. And then when everybody kind of got up in arms about it, years ago, they were like, oh, we're done. We shut it down. And we're giving it to the University of Alaska. I don't know if they bought it or if they gave it to them. I can't remember. But so it's been really quiet, right? Like, oh no, they're not doing that HARP thing anymore. Well, they're back and they're doing stuff. So at least we're getting what is the problem here? Come on. Let me go to the next slide. Okay, here we go. This one I have to be careful about. Oz sent me this yesterday, right as I was eating a sandwich, and it totally turned my stomach. So let me make this bigger so you guys can see it because it's pretty frightening. It says they're just not normal clots. It's almost like it's a tissue, not a blood clot. Before, only 10 to 15% would be clotted. Now I'm lucky to have bodies that are not clotted. You can discredit what I'm saying all day long with words, but you can't unsee what I'm seeing. And, we're hearing this from morticians and people who work with bodies. We've been hearing it for 6 months now, 8 months now. And oh my gosh, that's just so scary. Look at it. Look at it. Isn't that creepy? It's like it's its own organism taking over, right? It's body snatchers. Creepy. I love these memes too. She just got the booster. Soon this place will be ours. And when they say gain of function, it means they're making a fucking bioweapon. Yep. Couldn't have said it better. Yeah, those clot stories, if you're not paying attention to the people who, you can listen to doctors who've been politicized and you can listen to, the CDC and whoever, but you want the sources, go to those who deal with it, right? These guys are dealing with dead bodies every day. They have to pump the blood out of them. I believe what they're seeing is forming in human bodies is actually happening. So that's scary. It's scary for everybody that I know that has had it, God, my heart just breaks for everybody who had no choice, who had to keep a job, who had to stay in school, or, it's just, I have some in my own family that I'm just heartbroken. It hurts my stomach to know that is in their system, but nothing we can do about it, right? Till more people come forward and more people are sick and more people freak out. Like Katy Perry, I'm sure you guys all saw this yesterday. It broke the internet for a while. Um, I couldn't help but think of, do you remember the Family Guy series, the Family Guy episode where they were talking about how all of these sex kitten type stars are android robots? Miley Cyrus, Katy Perry. I think they even said Britney Spears. You know, it's kind of funny, but now you're kind of like, okay, is it real or is it Memorex? I don't know if this is a direct result, like a I don't even want to say it on YouTube. You know, what we've been seeing, we call it the Bieber face, right? Or is this an Android glitching? I don't know. You guys tell me.
I think you can't resist me.
I can see you racist conspiracy terrorists are at it again, pushing around this video, trying to tell everybody that Katy Perry was vaccine injured. Everybody knows that the vaccine 100% safe, 100% effective. Dr. Big Bird and Elmo on CNN told me so. So clearly what we have in this situation is that her human suit's broken. Yeah, this skin job got a busted Katy Perry face paralysis spasm suit going on over here. Right? MSNBC? CNN? BBC? Facebook? Twitter? YouTube? Am I allowed to say that? Am I allowed to say that this lizard person over here got a discount busted suit and that's what's going on with the face? No? Not allowed to say that? So then what is it?
So I'm going to take a guess and say that it is the Pfizer eye, just like the rest of you in the chat. I got to agree. Remember, Russell Brand was married to Katy Perry. I think if she was an android, maybe he would have noticed. I don't know. Will Russell comment? That is the true question, Anthony. Will Russell comment? I hope he does. I hope he does a segment on this, but he's been pretty quiet about his relationship with Katy. I really don't think that he will ever say much about it, right? But I would love to ask him. You know, you always have those questions that you would ask people, and that would be one of the things that, like, how could you be so deep into Hollywood and see all this, and you know, like, where do you stand now with a lot of these people would be my question. The Moderna mug. Yeah, that's a good one too, Dingo. We seen Katy glitch out before, you know. I some say that's part of her MK Ultra programming. And I wear fake lashes. No, it's not a heavy eyelash. Normally, if you're getting an eye twitch, you know, you twitch down here, not your whole eye closes. Amber knows she deals with eye twitches too. Yeah. We know what this is, guys. We know what it is. But that was just weird and creepy. And who does that? Like, if my eye glitched out and closed on camera, I wouldn't use my hand to open it. That's kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. I watch Russell every day. I try to catch Russell most days. I've always appreciated him, and I really appreciate him now. I do have some questions. What the hell is the 33 all about? If somebody could ask him that and let me know, that would be great. Is he referencing Freemasonry? Is it a number of completion? Just wondering. So here's a story nobody's talking about, especially not the mainstream media. And they're closing Walmarts all over the country. And they're not letting people know because they don't want a lot of backlash. And this is a great homesteading site. And I just got to give her a shout out because you don't see... Well, let me find it. Darn it. I'm trying to find the channel. Did I write the channel down? It's called Tommy's Carolina Homestead. I follow a lot of homesteaders and a lot of preppers. They have a lot of great information, especially for, you know, storing stuff, getting ready, the best ways to deal with things. I just like those channels. So let's hear from Tommy's Carolina Homestead. Oh, it's super loud.
Hey, what's
That
up,
better?
fam? Welcome back to the channel. So, just a quick video and update to let you know that another Walmart will be closing. I know it just keeps happening over and over again. More workers out of work right before the holidays, and this is happening in November. The Walmart at Freeport Road in Watermark Shopping Center will be closing on November 11th. If you aren't aware of what November 11th is, it is Veterans Day. Happy Veterans Day. You no longer have a job. A lot of veterans work at Walmart. This is just all the way around sad. Yep, November 11th, you guys. So if you know anyone in that area, let them know. Same old excuse. Foot traffic. Not enough foot traffic. More and more Walmarts are going to close. I said over 6 months ago that over 150 Walmart stores will be closing by the end of the year, hoping that that did not come true. But seemingly it is coming true. Every single month, there's new Walmarts posting that they are closing. And they're not just coming right out with it. They're getting tips. The news is getting tips. And then they spokespersons come out and they say, well, not enough foot traffic and we're going to have to shut that down. But we have other locations, that people can go to. It's not that easy for people, especially low income people, either to catch a ride with somebody because, for one, they don't have a vehicle, they might not be on the bus line, and fuel prices going up.
Let's see. Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. So yeah, she reported over the last year that 150 Walmarts were closing, and that's what's happening. This is adding to the food deserts, right? So what Walmart is doing is if they have multiple locations in an area and one store seems to be earning less than another store, well, they'll just close it. And it's no matter that when they came in, there was 10 mom and pop stores that people could shop at locally that Walmart killed. And now Walmart leaves and leaves the community with nothing. So basically Walmart came in, ate up everything, and now they're just bouncing out and leaving these people with no way to get goods, right? I mean, you have to take a bus, 30-minute ride across town to get to a Walmart. So you have to pack it all the way back on the bus, or gas prices, you have to drive across town. I mean, this is vulture capitalism at its best. And that's exactly what Walmart has been. So what will you do when the Walmart in your area closes? For me, that's the only store I have to shop at. I literally have a Safeway or I have a Walmart. The next town over, which is 10 miles down the road, that's all they have is a Walmart and Safeway. So they've killed all the mom and pops where we would normally have shopped. We had a lot of good little stores where I live when I first moved up here in the late 90s, and they've all been killed by Walmart since Walmart came in. And we fought Walmart. We did not want Walmart in this area. We fought them for years, and they managed to win, and they managed to come in, and they did exactly what we said they would do. They killed all of our community businesses. Exactly. So I just feel bad for people that are in food deserts. They want to canning lid. They want to ban canning lids. Try saying that fast 5 times. Ban canning lids. So canning lids are on the list to be banned, and there's a couple of different reasons, right? This is another prepper. Let me see what prepper this is. This is, oh, I made it so small. Life's House Off the Grid. And he actually got busted by the IRS for having a YouTube channel, tax-wise, right? They're starting to do that now. They're cracking down on anybody who has a YouTube channel who has not been paying enough taxes. Even if you've been paying taxes, this guy was paying taxes. He was paying his quarterly taxes, and they still came in and got him and said, well, it wasn't enough. So, that's what the future is for a lot of us people online doing this. But let's hear about canning lids. Now, the way he did this video was kind of long and drawn out. So he starts out and he's talking about how he uses a certain kind of canning lid, which is a plastic one. I can't remember what they're called. It starts with a T. And that metal lids are really expensive, right? You can't reuse them. Once they're popped, the seals broke on them. And basically what they're trying to do is stop us from canning. They don't want us canning. They want us purchasing from them. So this is what the future of canning looks like for those of us who still can.
Canning. The USDA actually wrote the book that I told you, the Presto. They wrote all those ingredients on how to can food, because apparently Presto's not smart enough to actually show us how to do that. Now, granted, back in the, I don't know, whenever the USDA was formed, before then, people were getting botulism, and it was making people sick. But once they figured out what was causing it, all they had to do was come out with a recipe book and put it in the canner. Why did the USDA have to get involved? And we pay billions of dollars for them to teach a few of us how to can. Not everybody wants to can. Yesterday, I was on a Facebook group, and they were talking about Tadler lids. There are some people who like them. There are some people who don't. And if you don't like them, fine, go buy the metal lids. I personally don't think metal lids are cost effective, but I'm not going to argue with you. If you don't like them, fine. Well, here's the thing. It's plastic. These are plastic lids with a seal. The plastic that they use has been approved for use in food products by the USDA. So Tadler used that plastic that was approved by the USDA. But the people in the Facebook group say, well, it wasn't approved for Tadler. That they didn't take the lid and test it to make sure it was safe to use as a canning device. You can use it for the other devices that the USDA has approved it for, but not for canning. They have to do it individually. If it's been approved for use, then what difference does it make if it was approved for canning? This is why our government has gotten so bloated. And this is why we keep losing so many freedoms, is because people on Facebook think that they need to protect me. This woman is saying, I would never use Tadler, and I want to start a petition, or she was going to start a petition to get the USDA to ban Tadler lids, because it might harm me, because I'm not smart enough to realize that Tadler's using a plastic that wasn't specified as a use for this plastic. But it doesn't matter. If it's being used in other applications, high temperature applications, then it doesn't matter to me.
So yeah, that's just the start of it, right? How crazy is that? They want to start a petition to ban these plastic lids that you can use for, they're called Tadlers, and they have been approved for use when it comes to food. Right? This plastic has, which we all know how plastic is and how it seeps into everything, right? But they're saying because these haven't been approved to be these type of lids, that they want them banned. And that's just the way it is for everything, right? There's always these do-gooders that are going to save us from ourselves by having something banned. And, the amount of people that are doing home canning is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as the older generations pass away. I was taught by my grandparents, who were the greatest generation, how to can. They grew all of their own fruits and vegetables. Both sides of my family, they had gone through the Great Depression. They understood what food storage was like, and that had stayed with them. So coming up in the 70s and the early 80s, of course, every summer I go canning with grandma. We'd make pickles, and we do the corn, and we do green beans, and all of it was a whole couple of month long thing. As the harvest came in, we would go do the canning. Well, nowadays, more and more people are not canning. They're just going and buying it from the store. So it's getting harder to find mason jars. And yeah, I saw somebody comment in the chat about finding mason jars. I mean, mason jars are so coveted now that it's kind of a joke. We'll fight over them in the family. Like, oh, those are my mason jars. You're going to give them back to me, right? Once you have them, you don't want to lose them. And the fact that they want to ban these lids, I'm sure they'll find a reason. So those who know how to can, teach others how to can, because it's going to be so important going forward. I absolutely do believe. And I'm not canning now. I wish I had the storage to do it, the kitchen space to do it, because I totally would do it, especially if I grew my own stuff. So there you go. They might come after canning lids, which would make it, does make sense. So they've changed GMO labeling to biofortified, just so you know when you're reading food labels. So no more is it going to say GMO. It's not going to say GMO on it. It's going to say biofortified. So put that in your repertoire. I need to put it in mine, so that way when I'm looking, If it says biofortified, throw that shit back. And Washington State reaches a $10 million settlement with Tyson Food in chicken price fixing. Washington State has settled the lawsuit against Tyson Food for allegedly price fixing the cost of chickens. Remember, and they had killed that whole crop of laying hens so that way they could price fix. Well, there you go. Washington State made a shit ton of money from Tyson off of it. Who was that a win-win for? I guess the government, right? I just had to put this on here. I don't know how old this is, but shout out to this guy. Oh, my cats are being crazy. The water superintendent for Richmond, Vermont, resigned this week after admitting that he had been lowering the fluoride levels in the town's water below state guidelines for more than a decade. Bravo, bravo. Yes, we need more rebels like that. I'm going to catch you. Stop running. Let's see. Heartache, anger in central Washington over drinking water wells tainted by forever chemicals. Anything on the eastern side of Washington State. Oh my God. You know, we've got the new Hanford glass making machine, which they're going to feed with nuclear bio waste. And the thing is it can never be shut off. I think Amber did a report on that over on Brave New Future on Friday night. Go check it out. You know, here in Washington State, God, we have so much. I mean, we have the military industrial complex, which has been dumping crap into all of our waterways for, you know, almost 100 years. And then, of course, we have the infamous Hanford nuclear site, which is just a big, raw, you know, bubbling cauldron of nuclear waste over there that seeps out occasionally. Remember, it kind of collapsed in on itself like last year or the year before. And oops, some of the radioactive material might have gotten out. So yeah, they're trying to clean it up, I guess. But I just feel for anybody living on the east side of Washington State. Yeah, your guys' water is effed, and we all know it. So, but kudos to the guy that was cutting the fluoride out of Vermont's water. You know, I've been against fluoride since the 90s when I understood that it was a nuclear byproduct that they just had to get rid of. So they decided to feed it to us, and they feed it to us in many different ways, not just our water. You know, a lot of big pharma has a lot of this shit in it too. Just saying. Warfarin, you know, blood thinners. Yeah, if you actually go track the blood thinners and where they came from, thank goodness for weed. I agree, gamer. Weed helps me get through it all, right? School test scores. Let's talk about this. You guys see this report yesterday that dropped? Finally, they're figuring out how bad they fucked our kids up by kicking them out of school for the last 2 years. And we'll talk about this after. You know, I homeschooled my grandkids during the beginning of COVID, and I saw it firsthand. I saw firsthand how they were not getting educated. The teachers had no idea what to do. And the lessons that were being given, they probably pretty much just threw their hands in the air. By the end of 2020 school year, my granddaughter's teacher just like, whatever you can get them to learn, you can get them to learn. I mean, basically is what it came down to.
By Colin Binkley, AP education writer, Washington.
Oh, that's quiet, isn't it?
The COVID-19 pandemic spared no state or region as it caused historic learning setbacks for America's children, erasing decades of academic progress and widening racial disparities, according to results of a national test that provide the sharpest low. Across the country, math scores saw their largest decreases ever. Reading scores dropped to 1992 levels. Nearly 4 in 10
That's the year I
failed
graduated.
to grasp basic math concepts. Not a single state saw a notable improvement in their average test
Not even
scores,
Israel?
with some simply treading water at best.
Gotta love that
Those are
music.
the findings from the National Assessment of Educational Progress, known as the nation's report card, which tested hundreds of thousands of 4th and 8th graders across the country this year. It was the first time the test had been given since 2019, and it's seen as the first nationally representative study of the pandemic's impact on learning. It is a serious wake-up call for us all. Peggy Carr, Commissioner of the National Center for Education Statistics, a branch of the Education Innate.
So basically, that's a breakdown of all the test scores that it came back. We are at historic lows since 1992. That was my graduating year. Were we just dumbasses? Apparently we were. But yeah, I saw it firsthand, and I've seen it. You know, my granddaughter is in the 3rd grade. She's in 3rd grade now. And teachers didn't know what to do. The schools were not prepared for outside lessons, and it was pretty much whatever work you can get them to do and pay attention to, then do it. We did a lot of you know, figure out your own curriculum, basically, is what the teachers were telling us. You know, if you can integrate doing something fun and teaching them, then do it. But as far as school lessons that came out in math and reading and writing and, you know, all of the basics, yeah, they had them read a couple of books, maybe a couple of flyers. I mean, our kids are so messed up by what we just did to them. And I'm glad that some people are finally starting to see it. I mean, you had that the one doctor who worked for CNN, right? She does developmental language, and she could see that her kids' developmental language was lacking, right? I can see it with my grandkids, and I mean, what's it going to take to get them caught up? Can we get them caught up with what's coming? I don't know, right? We're just going to be back at ground zero. It's very sad because American kids are already not competing globally with other countries, and now we're really far behind, right? We want to stay the empire we are. You have to educate the kids, and we're not educating the kids. Jilly, you can always tell the ones Jilly sends me. I forgot to say this. Jilly, I always put Jilly's up here. If you guys send me stuff, I will put whatever you want up next to it so you get credit for it. This is Jamie Deluxe, and I love Jamie Deluxe. He says, the production of hemp is a carbon negative, which means it absorbs more carbon from the atmosphere during its growth than it emitted by the equipment used to harvest it, process it, and transplant it. If carbon was a problem, they should plant more trees instead of cutting them all down and plant hemp. But they're actually evil, or to give some of them the benefit of the doubt, retarded. And I didn't know if we're allowed to say that word anymore, but Jamie Deluxe said it. But I agree. I saw a report of a hemp farmer who was busted by the DEA a couple of weeks ago. I want to say it was North Carolina, maybe South Carolina, one of the Carolinas. Anyways, they have been so dead against hemp for a century, right? I mean, the whole Randall Hearst bullshit where he didn't want it to affect his newspaper and magazine empire, right? So they rolled out the whole reefer madness bullshit because they love to conflate marijuana and hemp as the same, right? And genetically, there are some parts that are the same, but for the most part, hemp is not marijuana. Hemp is hemp. And we could be literally making everything out of hemp. Everything. I have seen plans for composite houses made out of hemp. You know, if we would just start planting mass amounts of hemp crops, we could replace a lot of the plastics that we're using. We could replace a lot of, you know, the wood that we're using in houses. There's just so much that we could do with hemp. I just bought a pair of hemp pants not too long ago. I love them. I have a hemp bag that's amazing. Hemp is so diverse. What word am I trying to say? Diverse. There we go. That we can do everything with it. Why the hell are we not using it for everything? Good point, Jamie Deluxe. And hey, if you guys haven't followed Jamie Deluxe, go follow Jamie Deluxe channel. I think he's got one on Rokfin. I know he's got a couple on YouTube. They take him down constantly. He does some amazing research, especially into how do I put it? The kitty fuckers. Yeah, that's what he calls them. So yeah, go follow Jamie Deluxe, especially if you want some good information on saving the children. Oh, great news. Scott Peterson's off death row. I had to stick to our whole serial killer type of theme, true life. I'll call it true life crime. And yeah, whoever thought that this piece of shit would get taken off of death row, but here we are. Oh, come on. Hit play.
New here at 6, Scott Peterson has a new home and a new mugshot. There it is. He's been moved off death row at San Quentin and transferred to Mule Creek State Prison in Amador County. He's now serving a life sentence for the 2004 murder of his wife Lacey and unborn son Connor. He is not eligible for parole. The state judge is now considering if Peterson deserves a new trial over claims his jury may have been tainted by a biased juror.
A biased juror that that wanted to see him die for murdering his pregnant wife and then lying about it. Yeah. Imagine that. A biased juror. Yes, he is off death row. How did that happen? I did know, but I filed it back there in the repertoire and I don't remember now. So I'm trying to think, what was it? It was something technical. It was something technical that got him off of death row. And that's all they want, right? I mean, if you're on death row, you don't care if you're going to sit in prison for the rest of your life. You're just trying to keep living. And it was a win for Scott Peterson. Total douchebag. So that's your true life report for true life crime report. I'm going to try to start bringing true life crime reports. Oh, I had another one that I forgot to bring you guys. You know, the Stockton serial killer that I've been covering the last couple of weeks. Well, there was a motion to put a gag order on the media and the attorneys and anybody involved with that case. They're saying that he will not get a fair trial because of how this has been covered in the media. So yeah, we might not get any much more information on that trial. And there's a couple other trials going on. Of course, we have Harvey Weinstein. He's back in court. He's literally on the same floor as the Danny Masterson trial. So they tried, Weinstein's, of course, being accused of more essays against women. Is that, I think that one's a civil suit. I could be wrong. And then, of course, you have Danny Masterson. That trial is really becoming about Scientology, which I'll give you guys all a big update on this next week. But the judge is really protecting, for me, it feels like the judge is protecting Scientology. And don't make this about Scientology, but you cannot present your case without telling what Scientology's involvement in it was. They were the reason these girls didn't come forward sooner. So, you know, there has to be a fine line there. They got to be able to talk about Scientology in order to present their case. And then, let's see, we got Weinstein. Okay, Kevin Spacey. Of course, I've been doing Kevin Spacey updates. Of course, his trial's ongoing too. Some of those we're not getting a lot of updates on. Some of them we are. So I will let you know next week how all of those trials are going. And let's see. Truth should not cost a man his life. I see there's a new campaign to get Julian home by Christmas. Please get out there, share it, support it. I can't do a show without mentioning Julian Assange and what he's done for all of us. So let's keep fighting for him. And I love this meme here with Tesla. Let me see if I can make it bigger so you guys can see it. It says, invents AC electricity, tries to give it to the world for free, finds out someone is using one of his patents, says let him use it, he's doing good work, finds out a contract that he had with someone will cause this person to lose their business and all of his employees their jobs, so he rips up the contract, invents a death ray that could have handed world domination to whoever held it, destroys it, invents everything from X-ray to radar to wireless transmission to AC electricity, doesn't care that he gets no credit for it, dies poor and alone except for the pigeons which he loved. This is true. I know he did. And forgives everybody's ignorance. This guy literally invented the modern world over 50 years before we could even figure out how to understand his inventions, let alone use them. The guy deserves all the credit he can get. All he wants was to make the world a better place. I love that. That is a great, great meme. I'm gonna do memes, make them informative like that. Okay, I think we're at the end of the show. I got to get to work on the Halloween deck. If you guys got anything you want to send us for Halloween to put on the deck, let me know. Go ahead and drop it in my DMs. But join Oz and Amber and I for our 3rd annual Beauty and the Boomer Halloween party, which is going to be a blast. If you want to get dressed and hang out with us, let us know. Just send us a message and we'll make sure that you get the link to show up in the green room and show off your duds, your looks. And we've been working on this for a while. I know Oz is probably panicking because I haven't put anything on the deck yet, but I have files and files full of stuff. I promise I'm going to start working on it today. So yeah, definitely join us for that. And let's see, join me Thursday for hopefully To Hell and Back with Pasta Jardula from the Combo Couch. We'll be hanging out and talking about addiction and topics of the day like we do. Let's see, do I have any other announcements out there? Trying to think, make sure you're supporting all of our brothers and sisters in independent media. You guys know who they are. We always, have our routines for the day. Heartlands Media, Sabby Says, Jimmy Dore. I see all y'all in those chats, so I know you're there. And I just want to shout everybody out. Thanks for hanging out today, Fred Edwards and Amber Quing. It's getting really shit die season. Oh yeah, it is. Amber, let's see. Is that Opus Comic? Is that what it is? I don't have my glasses on. I apologize. I should find my glasses. Somebody tell me what that said. I'm not sure who else I'm missing over on the Rokfin, but we appreciate you guys on the Rokfin. The font's so small, I can't see it at all. Sorry. I wish it would feed into my studio like everything else does. And I just want to shout out everybody over on the YouTubes, all of our different channels. Of course, we're on Trailer Park Pundit. Hey, if you guys are watching on Beauty and the Boomer right now, do me a favor. Go over to my actual channel, which is Trailer Park Pundit, and give me a follow. I only have like, I don't know, 70 followers or something over there, but I want to build up that second channel because you never know, right? We know how the YouTubes gets. So if you could go follow my channel, that would be great. But we appreciate you watching on Beauty and the Boomer. And let's see, shout out to everybody watching on Twitch. Hey, Twitch, I saw we had some views over on Twitch, and we're happy to be back on Twitch. And of course, the Rumble didn't get launched today because I had a rough enough time getting off, but I'm going to work on getting the Rumble back up and running. So we appreciate everybody who's watching. Choosy Heretics, choose Carnation Revolution. I appreciate you coming in. I always appreciate your comments. Dingo ate me, baby. Thank you for tuning in, Dingo. Go Start made it in. And Stevie from Redneck Economics. If you haven't followed Stevie, please go follow Redneck Economics. She does a great job. Anthony, thanks for joining. It's Cold Fusion Gaming. I know he has a channel too. He does a lot of gaming clips if you're into that kind of thing. I know some of you are. Jilly Love, thank you so much for all your help with the decks. Kate, you're always amazing. And thank you for sharing us out, getting us out there, telling people to watch us. Red Cloud, thank you for your support. You guys are all amazing. You keep me going. You know, at 5 o'clock in the morning when I don't want to get up and do this or write these decks, I think about you and I do it for you. So this is my gift to you guys. So let's see. I think that's it. If I missed you, I'm sorry. Oh, Oz is hanging out. Hey, Oz. You know I love you too, Oz. I know. I effed up the Rumble this morning. I'm sorry. It was a rough morning. But hey, Manatalk's hanging out too. Hey, Jimmy. How's life? Let's see. So I don't know. What am I going to do the rest of the day? I guess I'm going to go work on the Halloween show and do some refaces for it. Let's see what face I can put Oz on. So thanks for joining me. We're going to go out with our normal song because I don't want to. Hey, Chris Foster's here too. Hey, Chris, how's it going? I don't want to take a hit. Natalie Williams. What's up, fams? What's up? I'm so glad to see all of you guys coming in. Let's see. I don't want to take a copyright claim, so I haven't been changing the song because I think the song's great. I love Violent Femmes. It's an original cover, and I don't take a copyright strike for it. So that's what we're going to do. I will see you guys Thursday morning, same bat channel, same bat time, and I'll have pasta in tow. So see you later. Bye, Fred. Bye, fams.
America is. America is. America is. America is. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. American dreams are full of it. Look at the Indians. Look at the blacks. Look at the figures. Look at the facts. Look at the facts. The facts, not the lies. And you'll find out. Big surprise. That America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. American dreams are full of it. Indians, check out the blacks, and you check out the figures, and you check out the facts. Check out some facts. Check out the facts, not the lies, and you'll find out. It's a big surprise. Right between the eyes. That America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. America is the home of the hypocrite. American dreams, only dream. No desperation limit. No desperation level. Even though my nose don't work, I smell trouble. I smell trouble. No desperation limit. No desperation level. Murder in the government. Say you're sorry. Say you're sorry. No desperation limit. No desperation level. Turn the key. Turn the lock. Nationalism. You can suck my. No desperation limit. No desperation level. Watch how the world's progressing everywhere. Aggression, 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 aggression,
Aggression.